So this is like a retail spot?
No, it's an inn. So it's 7 rooms.
Oh, it's a
And
hotel.
yeah,
Okay,
yep,
let's go to our hotel spreadsheet. All right, so a couple things. We're going to go to summary page. You said he wants $2 million.
yeah. But he's pretty reasonable again. But
All
he
right,
said,
we like reasonable people. Okay, we're going to remove our CapEx budget for a second. By the way, interest rates probably going to be a little bit higher on these type of assets and a little bit lower LTV. All right, let's rock and roll. Let's jump over to the income. 7 rooms available. What does that mean?
7 queen beds available. There's only 7 rooms in the inn.
There's only
And
7 total rooms.
7 total rooms. So it's 3 levels, 7 rooms, a function hall, and a restaurant
All
at the
right,
bottom.
hold on. All right, so let's clear this all out for a second.
Sure, sure.
All right, so let's start from scratch. Okay, and you said it was what kind of? You said the queen beds, right? And we've got
Queen
double.
bed, single queen bed. Yep.
All right, that's whatever we'll put it in this function. You said there's only 7 of them. Let's say it's. Do you know how big they are roughly?
I didn't get anything from him, but I'm assuming probably 200-300 square feet, maybe more.
All
It's kind
right,
of a small, quaint inn.
wonderful. All right, so then let me just clean this up. All right, total square footage. 1 second.
The whole floor is 4,000 square feet, so 7 rooms. I don't know. Are they a little bigger?
Yeah, they're probably gonna be a little bigger. All right, let's figure it out. And obviously there's some hallways, other things. All right, so what are they rented at nightly fees? Do we know?
129 a night.
129 a night. Okay. 129 a night. Let's see here. So we got 903 roughly a month. What's our occupancy rate right now? Do we know?
He says they're like 95% occupant, but I really don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't know how much I believe that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
right.
put
I would
90%.
say, yeah, it's got to be in the 70s, right? But
I'd
anyway.
imagine. Yeah, I'm gonna have like a much higher vacancy rate down here. Let's say 20.
Okay.
Now, what are we saying that the market value of these rooms are actually?
Around the area? Not
Yep.
sure. Okay. Let me
All right, so we'll pull some comps. Let's say that we can. I'm just going to plug in a placeholder. Let's say 159 a night. Occupancy, let's say we can get it to 80%, or I'll just keep the 90 because we have the vacancy down below. All right, let's do equals 150 times the 7 rooms times the occupancy rate. There we go. That's fine. And we're going to say from, let's say 2-4. Okay, we're gonna do it quick. All right. Now, you said that there is also what in the place?
There's a 120 seat function hall on the second floor
Function hall. Okay, and then you have a restaurant.
and a restaurant.
Okie doke. Do we have any details around these? We got a.
I do not, but I know that he said he's put about 100K into the building and he's still looking to finish the renovations.
All right. Well, we got 2,100 square foot there. Let's say the function hall is like 8,000 feet, and let's just say the restaurant's another 6,000 feet or something like
They're
that.
both four actually. It's 12K in total, so each floor
Oh,
is 4,000. Yep.
got it. All right.
Okay.
So we got these two. Do we have any income from any of these?
I do not know. Like I
He
said, it might.
rents out the restaurant and he rents out the function hall, or he operates it.
He wanted to be owner occupied and do sushi at the restaurant, but it still hasn't. It's still closed.
Okay,
I
so
think
absolutely no income.
it's going actually.
Interesting. All right. Well, look, I would even try to say that like the function hall, like this is like an event center, I'm guessing.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Wedding, this,
All
that. Yeah.
right. Well, I mean, this guy's doing like terrible income. This guy's saying he's in it for 100 grand. He's making no money. This is absolutely wild. Let's just say that we can get a tenant in the restaurant. What do you think we can get a tenant to pay on a 4,000 square foot restaurant?
At least 4K a month, triple net, I would say.
Okay, that's fair. So let's say $4,000 a month, and then we're going to figure out expenses, which, by the way, I'm just going to take a rough
Yeah.
number here. So we're going to do an equals. We're going to go to income. We're going to go over income details. Let's say times 0.5. So we're going to 50% expenses. It's got to be also probably more than that. So I'm going to add another like probably 25,000, which is not even shown because the income is so terrible right now. So let's just say that all expenses, this guy's paying like 6 grand a month for his triple net restaurant. So he's paying 6 grand a month. We're gonna do that in quarter, let's say 4-6, maybe even faster, 2-4. Let's say 6 months. We got a tenant in there. All right, then you got your function hall, which for someone who's actually going to buy this and occupy it, they're probably going to be making, I mean, they're not even marketing this. So let's just say they can get in 1 year, something like 4-8, they can get to like, I don't know, 10 grand, 20 grand a month.
Yeah. I would say, weekends, 2 grand, 2 grand a night, weddings or, baby showers, whatever it is. Yeah, I'd say that.
All right,
20
let's say
grand.
15 grand a month. We're gonna say that you're gonna be at like a 70% occupancy. Let's say that that goes equals, yeah, 10.5. Okay, there you go. Let's go to summary page. It's only saying this building is gonna be worth barely in 5 years, $2 million. Okay.
Hey
By the
Greg,
way, this is gonna be
sorry to
this.
interrupt. The where it's supposed to show the monthly for the queen beds on the income, it's actually showing weekly. The you see the 903, that's like weekly, not monthly. So I think there's something wrong with the calculation.
I also think that's nuts per day. So you're right. This should be based on times 30. You are correct. Thank you for that. So times 30, because this will be their occupancy, 90%. All right, there you go. Much different numbers. Oh, okay, because we didn't change this one. That's why. And then we multiply that by the vacancy rate. Thank you, Sugi. I appreciate that. Because it's taking that and multiplying it by 7. Got it. All right, so let's take this. Give me 1 minute. Divide by 7. That means each room is bringing that in. It'll do the auto calculation. That's why. Let's make sure that that calculation. Thank you, Sugi, for that point. Appreciate that. All right, there you go. So the center is probably gonna be worth about $3 million when you're done with it at $2 million. It's not. Here's the problem, right? Like, obviously, we can argue that a lot of this sounds interesting. Let's put this back to 70 and this back to 8. We can all argue that like this. The IRRs are pretty decent here. Obviously, your cap rate's not spectacular or whatever the case might be. But the big question is when you're trying to sell these types of assets, is more likely than not, do you have an owner occupant who's going to want to deal with this? That's the biggest thing, right? Finding a lucrative buyer that you can put this in front of, because these buildings are or these types of these types of properties in general, like these types of asset classes, like hotels, are typically trading on a 4x multiple of revenues, right? For a decent product, like a Hilton. Okay, it's like a 4x revenue number. Now, obviously, you can see if you go to cash flows, right? Like just a really quick number, right? Right now, you can see that their first year they're gonna collect 300 grand roughly in income.
Okay.
Okay, which by the way, let's just actually drop this down to 129. Yeah, so they're gonna make 280. So the value of this asset, the way it is, because there is no restaurant and the function hall is not even making any money, I would be offering something like 4x revenues, right? So like I'd be offering about $1 million. Now, $1 million is, again, that's only worth it in the lens of a Hilton, right?
Right.
So on this type of property, we only have 7 rooms, and like it's kind of hit or miss, right? Like you can only generate so much income. I mean, this property might be only worth 2x revenues, so it might only be worth 500 or 600,000, right? So when you're looking at these types of hotels, right, first thing I go through my head is like, okay, I'll typically if Hiltons are like nice hotels, obviously once you get to like ultra luxury like Four Seasons and stuff like that, you're going to be looking at 10x multiples, right? Like as high as that. But if you're looking at, average run in the mill type of small, and like when I say Hilton, I'm saying like, something that's like a kind of associated with that, right? So like a decent hotel might go for 4x revenues. This one is not one of those situations. This is like maybe a 2x revenue. Because of the vacancy and everything else, I'm probably offering maybe $500,000 on this. I know obviously it can be a great income source and a great income generator, right? It can be of good value, but there's so much that has to go into this. You need to find a great restaurant tenant possibly, or operate it yourself. And the function hall, which there's no proof of concept that that people even want to use this place, right?
Sort of historical building. It's kind of in the center of town. It's sort of famous, but I besides that,
I'm just saying he's got no income on it, right? So like again, like we're making it up. Like so, the only person who's going to be able to give us an idea is going to be another wedding hall venue business that can feel confident they can achieve numbers. So
Right.
like when we're looking at this type of business, I would just be kind of like, if I'm looking at this as an investor myself, I'm not a hotel operator, right? So like when I'm looking at these types of businesses, I see a lot of risk, high levels risk. So even if I got it at a good price, it doesn't mean that it works out for somebody like myself. Like this type of deal, maybe to feel more comfortable, if you can achieve the rental amount for the restaurant, and which by the way, you might even tell them like, hey, maybe we just get the restaurant rented.
Get the tenant in there, get it running.
Yeah, which is a possibility, because like, look, someone might want to operate the whole thing, which I think might be a very lucrative opportunity for somebody. Like I would call up the other wedding venues, and before you even get that rented, I would call up every wedding venue in the area and say, hey, are you interested in possibly buying another venue? I have an interesting opportunity. you bring this to them, and you could bring it to them probably at around $2 million. I would probably go to them at 2 million and see what they say. Now, once you get some feedback, you're going to be able to go back and make some educated decisions. One, is 2 million an even reasonable number? Are we more closer to 1,500,000, 1,500,000? We're going to get a better idea of price. Two, are they even going to operate? Ask them, like, would you, look to operate the entire facility? Would you look to operate, the restaurant yourself? Would it be better if you got it occupied? What would you prefer? You can go through all these types of aspects of it, right? And find out exactly what these people are looking for. I mean, the fact that it's historical, the fact that this sounds like it's, more of a wedding venue-esque type of place, to me, seems like this is an entire business that you're trying to sell, not just the real estate itself.
And I did my homework on it, Henry. I was looking at, I know he bought it at 1.2 3 or 4 years ago, and he says he's in it for 100K. So
yeah,
I would assume he would at least want, his money back, maybe plus a little extra. I mean, he hasn't really told me that, but I would assume 1.5, 1.6 is what he's looking for, or he'd be happy with.
I mean, look, to be honest, 1.5. I mean, if you knew that we could get a tenant, I mean, an owner occupant that loves this type of space, maybe you just do a triple net or like a ground lease situation. Like they just ground lease the whole property. So you have like somebody who's going to come in and ground lease everything, operate the hotel, operate or the inn, operate the function hall, operate the restaurant themselves, but they just don't want to come up with $500,000 today. They want to pay $20,000 a month triple net lease or something like that. Who knows? Maybe you can get a better result that way.
Would a lease to own make any sense, or like
maybe. Yeah. Look, you might have to sell or finance a good portion of it. I don't know if he has any debt on it. When it comes to hotels, like, look, you need to have good operators. Like, this is not something you're just going to call up a run-of-the-mill random investor and you're going to see good success with it. With a hotel, you need a wonderful operator who's going to be there a lot, right? Like, or who owns other properties similar to it.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.